Hey folks, this is Mark again. Let's take a few minutes just to talk about taxes. U.S. personal income taxes, IRS type. This is the subject that strikes fear into the heart of the most adventurous entrepreneurs. And that fear simply comes from a lack of understanding of the law, because dealing with the IRS is so simple. It is so simple. It's like taking candy from a baby. All right? What we have to understand, the underlying principle is that the common perception that people have is wrong, and that perception is that all laws apply to all people at all times. Everybody has to file their taxes. Everybody has to pay their fair share. However, that's not what the law says. You look into any body of law, probate code, trust law, family law, child protection, any body of law has a jurisdictional clause in the very beginning of that section of code. And that jurisdictional clause is very specific. Who does this law apply to, under what circumstances, under what conditions, and then they have a list of definitions to be very clear in support of what they're trying to get across. All right? So in looking at the definitions as they're applied to the U.S. tax code, Internal Revenue Code, which is Title 26 U.S. Code, it states very simply that U.S. taxpayers who have taxable income are required to file and pay on their income. Subtitle A, gross income. All right? So, first of all, what's the definition of a U.S. taxpayer? What's the definition of income? And so when you start drilling down into it, it really is quite a revelation. Let me give you a simple example. If we look at the definitions of the United States, for example, in Title 26 of the U.S. Code, the United States is defined, and I can show you this right out of the law books. The United States is defined as the states and the District of Columbia. Well, in the common vernacular, we just interpret the states, meaning, the 50 several states, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Washington, Texas. And if we look into the definitions, that's not the case. So we go down to the next definition. How do they define states? Well, state is defined as the District of Columbia. So then we go back to the previous definition. What is it really saying? Well, the United States is the District of Columbia and the District of Columbia. So you're starting to get the picture here. Are you in the District of Columbia? Are you an entity created in, by, or for the District of Columbia? So we continue along those lines. So if we look at the definition of trade or business in the United States, and that's a catchphrase. Anyone engaged in a trade or business in the United States is subject to Subtitle A income. All right, a trade or a business, by definition in the Internal Revenue Code, is someone who is engaged in a public office in the United States. So are you engaged in a trade or business in the United States? To put it according to their definitions, are you engaged in a public office in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia? You see what we're getting at here. So we take it one step further. So then we look at the definition of a foreign estate or trust. And that comes out something to the effect that a foreign estate or trust is that which is not engaged in a trade or business in the United States. So just by definition alone, if you're not engaged in the public office in Washington, D.C., the District of Columbia, you are not subject to Subtitle A income taxes. Anybody can look that up in the definitions, and we'll show you that. We'll show you that right out of the law books. Okay? So that's a matter of repositioning yourself establishing yourself in terms of what your legal status really is. And that can be done very easily with an affidavit. Okay? Very easy to do that. So that's one aspect of it. We don't need to play games. I mean, there's different ways you can deal with the IRS. You can look for loopholes. You can maximize your deductions, play the game, play by all the rules, pay your accountants, do the compliance, but you trip up one time and now you're in an audit and you've got major headaches. Okay? So that's not particularly attractive. It's a much more attractive scenario if you can simply comply with the law and position yourself to be exempt. And it's simply a matter of establishing the record. That's all you have to do. And dealing with the IRS is so simple. If they have a demand for payment or a demand to file back taxes, we always agree. We don't fight with anybody. We go, sure, we'll do whatever you want us to do. Just show me where this applies to me. Here are the definitions that I've found right out of the Internal Revenue Code. Here's the citations, okay? I'm not one of those. Now, if I'm missing something, please tell me. If I'm not missing anything and I am correct in my assumptions and my research, then please tell me that. And if I don't hear from you, I can only assume that you've waived your right to object to my position and you agree to it by your silence. And so you've set the record with documentation. People are so afraid of going to jail. Well, you can only go to jail if you have criminal intent, willful intent to violate the law. And we'll set the record that you are making every attempt to be 100% compliant. We're going to present that to the IRS in a very simple and straightforward format and give them every opportunity to show you where you are wrong. And of course, we know in advance you're not. And so we ask questions of them that we already know the answers to that they cannot or will not respond to. So you see how easy this is. All right, and once you've removed any assets from their reach, there's only two ways they can go after you. Civilly, they can go and try and steal your stuff, bank accounts, liens on property, stuff like that. Well, you need to get stuff like that out of your name. All right, that's number one. Be a pauper on paper and live like a king. That's the key to asset protection, is don't own anything. Okay, that's number one. So you've just blocked the civil road that they might take to try and go after you. So the second road they will take is the criminal road. But if you've established the fact that you're willing to do whatever they ask you to do, all they have to do is establish proper standing in making their claim, and they don't do it, well, you've blocked the civil road, you've blocked the criminal road. They'll never haul you into court because you're acting in compliance with the law. You're willing to do whatever they say, so long as they can show that whatever they're demanding is lawful. And they can't, and guess what? You're now free. It's that simple. There's a revocation of election process you can do. There's a number of different approaches to this. We have an alternate way of filing if they want you to file your taxes. There's an accepted way, an alternative way of filing, which will be the last time you ever file, but it's not a 1040. And it does the same thing. It asks key questions to establish your position in law, and you'll file that. You'll file that and be in a position to have a record that you are in full compliance with the law, and there's no way they can go after you for criminal charges. Okay, so it's really quite simple, and we show you these things. There's some simple documentation, simple letters, some research that we can use. It's been used very, very effectively. So we want to comply with the law. We put you in a position where you are complying with the law, and there's absolutely no recourse they can take against you, civilly or criminally. Simple. All right, that's all for now. Just wanted to get those concepts across to you, and you'll have fun exploring these. All right, that's all for now. Take care.